Come from one regional weekend where Farfa tops with Admancipators, and in that same weekend, we see Admancipator lock down another first place finish. That is double rock tops, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you guys smash the little crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Admancipator taking down a regional, ladies and gentlemen. Shadow Realm Games out of this past weekend showed us that we could pretty much see the same breakdown that we've been seeing pretty much across the format so far. The most interesting thing with this was the highest represented deck on the top cut here was Tri-Brigade slash Bird Up. We always left the lyricalist versions of this deck together underneath the Tri-Brigade flag. So two of those representative of the top cut here. We had one Sword Soul. It seems to be the story here. Either Sword Soul is the dominating force out of these events, or for whatever reason we see that Sword Soul takes a little bit back approach here, and you see the deck kind of coming up to a decent pace here. Okay. Then we had one Fluandereese in top cut. Now, this is kind of the same thing I've been seeing a little bit all over the place here. Like, this deck is highly represented by the player base in terms of its rogue diversibility. Alright, but the problem is it still has issues kind of keeping up with the rest of the meta at certain points. So that's interesting. We had one Invoked Dogmatica. Invoked Dogmatica has also been gaining a little bit of a presence here at these regional levels. You know, Macabre plus DP plus Schism to make the Winda is very, very powerful. And then other times it's just hot dog water. And I mean that, like, very truthfully. Like, it's good and it's bad. It's just, I feel like the deck's got more issues than it does good right now. We also have one Admancipator deck, and as I said, that was our winning list for this regional. Very, very, very awesome. And then we also had one Hero here. Alright, and it is actually kind of nice to see frickin' Hero getting some more love here, ladies and gentlemen. Hero has been one of the decks that a lot of people just kind of chalk up into the trash bin and go, well, it just loses to Nibiru. That can be the case in some games here, but Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is a very good card. Alright, and when your entire deck's life purpose is to make that card, well, it would make sense that this deck would get the chance to do well. Let's go take a look at some of those deck lists, shall we? Alright, the first place list out of this regional was Sword Soul, and yes, it is playing Small World. We have seen a lot of these builds in more recent times playing Small World as that bridging gap so that you are able to combo up and get to your searchability options with this card. I think this card actually was the reason why this deck was able to kind of get its rocks back in a row here and get the chance to actually do something. I also see here that we have the Creation Resonator in here. If you control level 8, get the ability to splash summon it. Yes, got to bridge the gap here. Also, outside of that, this deck's strength still is going to be in its Auroradon combo. Remember, the Hulk Auroradon combo still exists in the format. It's not as crazy powerful as it once was, because with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And things like that, I mean, putting up a Borreload Savage / any of these other synchros, well, we're not playing Borreload Savage, putting like the level 8 engine on the field for the negations, you know, a Herald, things like that. It's not quite as powerful. The one cool interesting thing with this build is this is playing the Dagda, which will give you access to the Scythe package here, and you already know that once Scythe plays are usually involved, it's usually pretty interesting shenanigans. Never mind, we are playing the Borreload Savage. I'm just tired. Alright, so yeah, you just set up your standard negation board and laugh at your opponent with 99% more Dagda situation. Outside of that, that is the era of Sword Soul, excuse me, of Admancipator, ladies and gentlemen. Not too bad. I'm glad to see that this is how this build actually evolved, though. Also, interesting note for the little eggy weggies in here, and we can kind of get some more advantage off of these. Also, this one's wind. Alright, next up here is Sword Soul. This is second place for this event. Now, for this build, we actually have a splash of 2 Heavenly Dragon Cycle versus 2 Vessel. Now, I'm not a super big fan of this combination. I feel like either going 3 or 3 is your best goal. But actually seeing the splash of this does open up some new interesting ideas that you can mess around with. But you got to ask yourself, playing the 10E variant, like, is this the combination that I want to go for? And if the answer is yes, well, it looks like it was successful for second place here. I see that we are playing Synthana in this. Synthana's pretty much hit or miss with about 90% of these builds. I think a lot of these builds have cut this. The only real thing you care about is it's just another level 4 that you can basically combo up with to get to cheese out a little bit easier. And there's that white Aurora Whale that we've kind of started to see come up in more of these versions. So not too bad, but pretty streamlined to be honest. Next up here is Bird Up. Now, this Bird Up list said, you know what? I wanna go second, ladies and gentlemen. So we have the board breakers built in here. We have 2 talents and 2 copies of Forbidden Chalice. That's kind of interesting. And I love this. So if you do anything, or if you hard draw the Apex Avion, it's not a problem, because we just play 2 of them. I have noticed that the barrier statue's just pretty much fallen out of favor for this particular deck. I mean, I understand that like the barrier statue, setting up, doing what you want to do with it, feels very good, but I think most of the player base agrees at this point that setting up an Omni Negate through Apex Avion, just make sure that you can maintain your game plan and set up that negate. If anything happens to the Apex Avion, you know, if you're like Dark World and more, it is what it is. It's the power of board breakers, this format, but alright, makes sense. I do like the inclusion of these. This will definitely give you the chance to play the game, because right now, this deck also doesn't like playing into a big board. Next up here is Flaunderies. Woo! Yes. Guess what we have here, ladies and gentlemen? We have the ability to bridge the gap with the Wiracle Rasqua. Alright, I see here that we have Small World, of course. Alright, standard stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I love the fact that this deck had the ability to become one of those decks that could bridge the gap and give you the ability to basically climb up was absolutely hilarious, in my opinion. I gotta give it to Konami and like the expiration of this card. This card actually is pretty good, even though it's a -1 in a lot of situations. Giving something like Flaunderies here another potential search / board extender. Okay, not too bad. Outside of that, I don't see anything really too crazy that I really want to point out here. I just got to say, hey man, I'm glad that birds are getting the chance to get some more love and excitement for this. Next up here is Invoked Dogmatica, and this is exactly what I was saying, alright? In previous videos, Maximus is just free real estate. Nobody's really citing for this or extracting for this anymore, so you just get the free real estate to just set up for your window play and laugh at your opponent. I also see here that we got frickin' Evenlies and Droplets built into this, so you just board breaker your opponent, proceed to laugh at them to your point. We also have the one Mystic Mind built in as the additional board breaker. I feel like there's got to be like some really bad hands with this build, but all things considered, this did end up getting 5th place here, so I would say that there had to be some sort of successful ratio with this turnover. Man, we even have even more going second cards in here. Just imagine like on full side deck mode here, you got the Dark Rulers, the Lightning Storms, the Evenlies, the Droplets, and that. You're literally on 13 board breakers, plus, you know, inclusion of hand traps to make sure that you can play the game. That's absolutely absurd at the end of the day. Next up here is Heroes. Now, the side deck for this particular build accidentally had 16 cards in it. I opted to not cover that because I wasn't sure what the missing 16th card was. So for this sakes and things for this here, it was an honest mistake, I'm pretty sure, when they sent it over. So we have the Droplets built in here. We have the Lightning Storms built in for the board breakers. Of course, Plasma. Remember, you're one of the few decks in the format that actually can take full advantage of Plasma, setting up and laughing at the opponent. Outside of that, the extra deck feels very standardized. Alright, Double Cross Crusaders become such a norm at this point for hero players. Absolutely. 44 cards also feels fine. There is no Crossout Detonators in here, which I hate to say. I know a lot of people like clutch on that card to make sure that they can play the game, but unfortunately in the situation you are now, I feel like the extension of like these particular cards feels a little bit better. And the last list I have for you guys here is Phantom Knights. This was actually 8th place out of this event here. Once again, we are playing Plasma over the Dasher, because you want to, I mean, hey, if you hard draw, you can set up a Plasma, laugh at your opponent. I mean, what are they going to do? Try to play through it 5-head? Triple Fusion Destiny. I know a lot of builds are trying to play 2 Fusion Destiny right now, but this particular build wants to play 3. I see that we have the Droplets for the board breaking capabilities. Outside of that, we have double Crossout Designator down here. We have the 1 Nibiru sighted as well for that Crossout Designator. That's actually kind of hilarious, actually. And this person decided that they wanted to main deck triple DD Crow because they don't want to lose to DP. Alright, Destroy Phoenix Enforcer against this deck. Very, very powerful, especially something that can recur itself. All right, so we just went ahead and we opted to make sure that this was our hand trap of choice for this meta. So guys, what do you think about the breakdown for this event? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. I will see your beautiful faces back later on the day. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.